Next up is Matthew's request, and he's asking me to do the Swan Princess Christmas.
So dark, so cold, no hope in your eyes.
That's right, we're finally gonna tackle the movie that started the CGI era of the Swan Princess movies. But where do I begin with this? A good starting point comes from Kids 10 Commandments, the last 2D animated feature from Rich Entertainment, or whatever name it called itself. Because right after we have Arthur's Missing Pal, which was done with CGI. Honestly, it's incredible how Richard Rich has lasted so long that he just restarted the Swan Princess film series in 2012, 14 years after Enchanted Treasure. Why did he decide to do this? Must be the same reason he made the other CGI sequels. Because he saw the potential in this series, as the first and third movies were at least enjoyable. But after that, it's a mixed bag at best. But could this movie be so good as to justify the sequels that follow it? Only one way to find out. It's time for the Swan Princess Christmas. Yeah, not a good subtitle, huh? No cold opening this time. Get it? Cold. Instead, we just get the first introduction to the CGI water swirl animation. If you saw some of my other Swan Princess reviews, you know that it's not very good. I think the later ones might have touched up on it a little bit, but that didn't help much. We then have Rogers addressing the audience about the various Christmas traditions they have in their kingdom.
Gingerbread houses, wreaths, caroling, stockings.
Well, where I'm from, we have giant yetis who we must beat up to get our presents. Do you have giant yetis? I think not. He also talks about how they put up a royal tree that's meant to represent good memories throughout history, and each memory will take the form of ornaments. I suppose this is in good spirit to encourage kindness towards others, especially during a time of giving. I do have to question the one with Uberta, like if the ornament is meant to be believed, her comforting someone at someone else's grave is good, since they're showing empathy from a position of power. But do you really need to put it on the tree? We later transition to the movie proper with Derek and Odette singing Jingle Bells with Speed and Puffin. Jean Bob is being a stick in the mud about Christmas though. Why is that?
Spring is the season of love. The chances of you getting the kiss that will turn me back into a prince at Christmas are almost zip.
Mistletoes exist in your version of Christmas, right? And putting aside the awfulness that comes from forcing a kiss on someone, that alone at least should make you want to like Christmas, you dumbass! We then immediately see the cat Jasper, going by his current name of Number 9, and without any build-up or reason...
Same plan as always then. Just get his attention, and soon Derek will follow you right into my trap.
That's right, Rothbart is back! As a ghost. Now, ghosts are a thing in this series, but even in the later sequels, we never get an explanation for this. Anywho, Rothbart is using Number 9 to screw with our heroes. In return, the cat will regain the 8 lives that he lost previously. Both plan to lure Derek and Odette into some kind of trap by being out in the middle of the road, but it doesn't go well.
Don't move.
You know, at least Zelda had someone try and steal stuff just to get the forbidden arts. Maybe do that instead of trying to murder from beyond the grave. And while our heroes certainly have seen Number 9 a bunch, you'd think they would be a little worried about how he's all frozen up this time.
Shoo, little fella. Shoo, go on.
So much for Christmas being a time for doing good. I mean, only help him when he looks to be suffering from frostbite right now. And even if it leads to no good, at least you prove your point about being kind and all that. Oh, now Jean Bob learns about mistletoe. Meanwhile, at Uberta's castle, we see that Bridget has a thing for Chamberlain, voiced by James Arrington, who, fun fact, is the only returning actor from the original movie, and this is his last time voicing him. It seems Uberta themed her Christmas around the Swan Princess, aka Odette, And we learn that while Uberta is normally goofy, she changes when it's Christmas time.
Okay, folks, let's move it. We've got a lot of work to do.
Gotta make sure everything's right with the holiday. So as everyone goes to do their thing, number 9 attempts to sneak into the castle. At first, I thought maybe he was trying to garner pity as he looks to be limping on one paw. Derek seems to notice, but once number 9 gets into the castle and the door closes, he does nothing. Apparently, there's something in the cellar that number 9 needs to get, but people are down there getting ornaments to prepare for Ornament Day. Bridget and Chamberlain start smooching because of the earlier scene, and then Rothbart uses his voice to scare them away. Yeah, so in the cellar there's a big chest with the letter R, and Rothbart needs it to be opened for some reason. And the only person he wants to do it is Derek. Why number 9 can't do it is because Rothbart wants to get revenge on Derek, so he needs to be the one to usher him in. Or something. For now, Derek is going to find a Christmas tree at the Ice Leopard Pass. Bromley is forced to tag along, even though he knows it's dangerous and tries to act tough. Number 9 is sneaking around and Derek seems to suspect him this time.
What's this? Ice Leopard Pass. We might see a cat.
Ow!
That's a bit overkill for a cat, don't you think? I mean, you can just catch him and ask what his deal is, because you all can talk to animals after all. Elsewhere, Odette is watching a music performance of Deck the Halls. Ew. Yeah, I've made it known in the past that I really dislike this animation style. It's these uncanny faces that bug me, and here it's even worse. But at least these characters move a little more naturally during these song sequences, which is probably why they chose this style to begin with. Here's where Rogers and Uberta tell Odette to provide her own music number for the festivities. Our main character doesn't seem to know how to really process this.
Thank you. I think.
Maybe she never got to do something like this before, but she's worried she'll mess up? Oh well, back with Derek, who has a snowboard from Rogers? To be fair, that's probably the least bothersome thing these movies do for anachronisms. And the prince will need it because they do see an ice leopard, one of 2 we see. Bromley accidentally falls down a hill and now needs to be rescued. While this chase is rather implausible, it's probably the one sequence that I find decent. Derek manages to immobilize the first leopard, then kills the other one with an arrow. I mean, we don't see the shot, but we know it happened. Number 9 gets caught up in all this and is freaked out enough to call it quits with Rothbart. Then Rothbart agrees to replenish all of number 9's lives. But what is his angle from this? How did these 2 even meet to begin with? Elsewhere, Jean-Bob is attempting to get a lady to kiss him under the mistletoe. While he's doing that, Odette is getting help from Speed and Puffin for her Christmas number. Then Jean-Bob gets rejected in a rather amusing bit.
You're good.
I get lots of practice.
He mentions the words "Christmas is the reason," which inspires Odette to go with that as her song. We then see Derek and Bromley bring in a large tree, and Rogers takes the opportunity to show off his new invention for it.
The light bulb.
Oh, it'll never catch on.
You'd be surprised. And yeah, I guess maybe this is the movie where he invents electricity in the Middle Ages. So Ornament Day arrives, and everyone sings a song about what goes on during Christmas as they're decorating the tree.
Will you help make her shine?
A jewel in the spot and your coin in your pocket for Christmas.
This kingdom is thriving when the shop owners just give back the money they get. And I actually don't mind this song. In fact, the Derek and Odette parts are probably the best, though 2 things bug me a bit. One is their ornament bulb. How does that work? The other is that one guard who served King Sebastian in a future movie, but here he's in a green uniform. Even in the CGI era, the series is going to continue using clones. At any rate, there is one last ornament to put on the tree, the Christmas star. Except it's gone now. Derek is asked to check the cellar, which gives number 9 a chance to lure him to...
Oh, you've got something to do with this, you creepy little cat.
You are really awfully suspicious of a cat that just so happens to be around for stuff. I mean, yes, he is up to no good, but you don't have proof about him doing anything. And how would he steal a large ornament? Maybe Richard Rich has a thing against cats, like most animation studios it seems. Anyway, Derek does find the Rothbart chest and opens it, causing... nothing. He does find the star nearby, but what exactly did opening the chest do?
First day of Christmas, Prince Derek gave to me a way back to Earth.
Great. Are you gonna possess Derek now? Even though he's out of the room? Actually, no. In fact, there was no reason for Derek to open the box at all. Rothbart could have just let number 9 open it and save a lot of time. And speaking of which, he's not getting his lives back because Rothbart revises their agreement. He now wants his body, but there's a problem.
The only thing more powerful than the forbidden arts is the spirit of Christmas.
So, your literal weakness is Christmas? If that's the case, couldn't you wait to be free at a better time? But then we learn why Rothbart is going through with this anyway. He wants to destroy Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He is able to cast smaller spells, and maybe that can build up to something nastier.
Along with Derek and Odette. Dang, crushing this would have put a really nice button on that speech.
Okay, you get one, Rothbart. Odette then comes to Rogers and Huberta about her Christmas number, and Rothbart senses an opportunity to use his spell to...
Not.
What?
I know what you're up to, you baritone napper.
And who's had their eyes on my altos?
Make them mean? Okay, I know where this can lead, but that's not especially impressive. Later, Derek captures number 9 and has his encounter with Rothbart. But when he brushes up on some chimes, Rothbart gets hurt because those things are tied to Christmas. Derek finds that box again, and it contains a portal to hell or something this time?
He's back. And I let him in.
Don't you mean let him out? And yeah, I agree. Derek is an idiot for not realizing that the box that had the letter R on it would be tied to Rothbart. You could have just burned the thing and see what happens, but no! Derek then reaches Odette to tell her that Rothbart's ghost is back, and that said ghost is weakened by anything Christmas related. But they aren't telling anyone else cause... I don't know. Don't want to start a panic? Or maybe free the people who are already affected? Oh, and Rothbart can't cast spells on our heroes because... they have too much Christmas spirit. How did he become more of a joke than frickin' Clavius from the second movie? And this is shown when he realizes that our heroes have placed dozens of Christmas chimes around the cellar, thus preventing the villain from escaping, or rather entering any other part of the castle. But if you remember Princess Tomorrow, Pirate Today, ghosts can fly around and could go through solid matter, except for glass. Rothbart could just fly underground and get out of the castle! You freaking idiot!
Christmas.
Seriously, you don't need the castle to carry out your plan! Meanwhile, we get more of Rogers and Huberta competing over whose music group is better. Because remember, Rothbart made them more unbearable and competitive.
A Shetland pony?
I'm bringing in
No!
baby pandas!
What is going on here? How are the later sequels more grounded than this? Back with Odette, she visits the orphanage to look for kids to sing her number.
Christmas is the reason for the season
When Jesus Christ was born.
A reminder to everyone that Richard Rich did Christian media before this. So Rothbart might not affect anyone in the castle, but he can affect some villagers like he did with Rogers and Huberta. But it's hardly destroying the Christmas spirit if they're still celebrating Christmas, even if they're arguing over how to do it. Plus, we just need Odette and her choir to show up and calm everyone down to save the day, right?
And they're all mine, and no one else's.
You would take all of them?
you slithering serpent!
Okay, never mind. But still, I think our heroes can easily resolve things on their own. And since they know Rothbart is affecting the town, they spring into action. Derek builds a trap with Bromley, while number 9 decides to turn on Rothbart until he gets his lives back at once. But then Bridget shows up for all this, and Rothbart actually tries to get her to come back to his side. And...
Gosh, I missed ya so much.
Bridget missed those days too.
I mean, maybe this could have tied back to her not getting together with Chamberlain before he helps her get back to being the good guy. But why have any kind of complexity in a movie for kids? Anyway, Rogers took some roots that could make someone lose their voice, and he's planning to make tea with said roots and feed it to Uberta's choir. Funnily enough, Uberta was plotting the exact same thing. This at least plays into the dynamic that these two are made for each other, but only if you bother watching the sequels after this. Rothbart learns of what Odette is doing with orphans and decides to confront her. He seems to have enough magic to affect her, but then he wastes time by telling Bridget to get rid of the chimes in the cellar. Even though Odette isn't in the castle, and even though he can freaking teleport now! Leave the freaking castle, you idiots! As for Odette, she took Uberta and Rogers to visit this woodcutter's house that she and her father used to go to every Christmas to leave food and presents. The two keep bickering and competing, but seeing how happy the woodcutter and his kin are from the visit breaks the spell placed on them. Even in the village, it seems Rothbart's hold on the people is dissipating. Though I'm not sure what changed, since what happened with Uberta and Rogers was outside the village.
Look at what Christmas is doing to me.
Dude, just wait until Christmas is over. We all know you just want to kill the main leads. Just do it when the holidays are over and you'll be fine. Number 9 pressures Rothbart that he'll help if he gives him his 9 lives. And he accepts this and decides to just have him steal a light bulb from the tree. The only one to notice is Puffin and Speed. A chase ensues, and number 9 gets the bulb to Rothbart while trapping the animals in the cellar. The plan is to place the newly enchanted bulb back on the tree, and once it turns on, it destroys the other ornaments and brings Rothbart back to life somehow? I mean, I suppose it destroys Christmas, thereby weakening the Christmas spirit, but does that mean he gets a free resurrection spell? So on the night of the light ceremony, Bridget informs Rothbart of Derek's secret plan. She doesn't say much about it as she's leading her boss to our heroes, because...
No!
You make a pretty good spy, Bridget.
Okay, I take back what I said. I did not see this coming from her. Bridget warns Derek about the evil bulb, so they have to hurry over and figure out what it's going to do. As the show begins, Derek is looking for signs of what number 9 did, while the animals try breaking out.
My kingdom for a hammer!
If only we had a crowbar.
Derek manages to see the enchanted light bulb and attempts to stop the lighting ceremony, but it's too late. The lights come on, and after a moment of nothing, everything goes dark except the evil bulb, and with everything destroyed and people upset, Rothbart comes back to life. Yeah, let's just roll with it. He shows up in front of everyone and subdues Derek with ease. He steals Uberta's crown so that he becomes king, and then goes over his plans to take the kingdom. I hate how it took him this long to regain any semblance of his somewhat intimidating and threatening demeanor from the first movie, especially when he kept getting messed up by Christmas spirit. Regardless, he intends to get rid of Derek and Odette because
you got the Christmas spirit all year round.
That's stupid. He takes Odette with her to Swan Lake to repeat the events of the first movie, like turning Odette into a swan, which seems to be the only time this happens in the CGI sequels, then having his big battle with Derek by turning into the great animal. The plan is for this Christmas to go so badly that future Christmases will be sullied and made miserable for everyone else. Also, Rothbart wants to turn Odette into an ornament when the moon shines on her. Sure. Anyway, the battle is less scary in 3D than in 2D. Despite Derek's best effort to free Odette, he gets tossed by Rothbart and... well, he dead. But then Odette starts singing her Christmas song, which physically hurts Rothbart. He then tries to at least kill Derek before he goes boom, but too late. He dies. Again. At least this is far from the lamest way a villain dies in these movies. All the spells Rothbart cast disappear, so Odette returns to normal. But Derek really does seem to die from his head injury, at least until the miracle of Christmas happens when she sings another song.
You're back.
The tree is also restored to normal. Number 9 decides to peace out, and we wrap up with another dance number. Chamberlain brings in a new ornament showing Odette tending to Derek, and that's her act of goodness for the season. So ends Swan Princess Christmas, and my word, it's pretty bad. Like, it's not without its good parts, like the sentiment of showing compassion and kindness to others, and the songs that were well sung, even if it's still kinda weird hearing these songs in this kind of movie, but whatever. What really bugs me more is just the general plot with Rothbart. He chose to come back on Christmas with the intention of destroying it and those who wronged him, even when he knew that Christmas would weaken him because power of Christmas spirit, I guess. Later movies have their own dumb plots, but those have a little more gusto than this. It would have been better if they just had an original villain with their own distaste for Christmas, instead of trying to bring back an old villain who didn't show any hate for that holiday in any film before it. So at this moment, this is the worst of the Swan Princess sequels, and considering how low the bar is because of those other sequels, that's quite an accomplishment. But before we get back to Swan Princess, I have one last request to do. And funnily enough, it's on a movie that I had on my hard drive for years. Stay tuned.